All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started here with some episode 8 here on Kingdom Come the
Why do you
Deliverance.
have a why? Is that where you live?
No, this is the city that my webcam ain't even. Is my webcam gonna fall? Like I feel like, why does it feel like it's off stable or something? Like it looks wrong with it. I have no idea. But why didn't the video just save some kind of weird screenshot of me? Okay, anyway, am I loud on there? Can you hear me good? Am I pretty loud on there?
I don't know.
We should be all right. All right, let's continue on. All right, so at least the game is running good. Everything's running pretty fine, guys, which is perfect. We just got to make some progress here with the game, and I got to try to remember exactly where we had to go. I think we were going into this building, and let me zoom out real quick. Wait, what happened to my objectives? Oh, right here, B. I'm in the wrong place. Let's get back, and we're gonna go right back down, guys, because I have to see if first of all, it's nighttime. We're gonna need the torch out so we can see where we're going.
Oh.
Alright, I don't think we're gonna really be able to get that stone that we need, but we're gonna at least be able to do this for now. This should take us by our objective, really. Alright. Holy mackerel, I almost jumped so high there just now. Alright, let's head inside. This guy should have some proper lighting here. No, of course he doesn't. So he's gonna be up here somewhere. Let's find him. He's sleeping. Man, he's got a bunch of candles going on up here.
God be with you.
Wow, he just woke right up with no problem.
About that Moldavite we discussed.
Yes. Do you have some news?
Replace the stone with something else. Give me more time. Oh boy.
No, nothing for now. Give me more time.
Of course. Just remember that I have to mount the stone on the crown, and that's no small matter.
About that Moldavite we discussed.
Yes. Do you have some news?
I'm sorry, but you'll have to replace the stone.
I was afraid of that. I only hope
your character?
Merchant Vizek is safe and sound. Well, no time to lose.
Well, the guy that had it,
You can come for
he
it
got
tomorrow.
murdered by the bandits.
Farewell.
Alright, we gotta wait for him to set the Moldavite, so we're gonna find a missing Moldavite. Yeah, of course it failed. Well, I couldn't get it. There's nothing. I checked everywhere. And my only guess was it was probably in one of these, like the crates, and I just didn't have any more lockpicks to really work with here, guys. So we don't really have many options, to be honest. Alright, so we gotta wait for this guy to be done. So we're gonna head back outside of here real quick. Let's hop on that horsey. Alright, we're gonna hop on the horse here real quick. Alright, so now we made it on there. Let's check the map real fast. It's B. What else did I have to do here? Mount the Rhone? We're not done with that one? I think we gotta go do A now. Buy wine from the merchant of Ratai. Hold on, guys. Let me check our objectives here. Give me a second. Buy wine for the. Wow, I have to wait until the master engraver has set the Moldavite into the ground. He told me come in the early evening of the following day. Okay, well, is there anywhere I can sleep for now? Looks like I might just be waiting it out, guys. Yep, it seems that way.
Oh, God damn it, my stomach hurts.
My guy's hungry, of course he is. Alright, well then let's eat real quick. There we go. Now we're good, we're replenished. So wait. It's gotta be somewhere I can go to lay down, guys. We just gotta rest for a bit. All right, let's how long do we have to wait? Oh, not too long. Let's go back to the objective, but he said the evening, so get here for a second. All right, so now that we're here, we're just gonna wait. Let's have a seat. See what this guy wants to do with us here real quick. Okay, so now that we're waiting, wow, I can skip a whole day. Wow, okay, we don't want to do that though. This would be morning. Let's do 8 hours. Probably not a good idea, guys, but we ain't got a choice. Okay. We're gonna get up in the seat right now, and then we're gonna move out, guys. We gotta see what else we're missing here. Oh, what the heck? Why is my webcam like that? Hold on, guys. Bear with me here. Something ain't right. Let me, fix that real quick. Hold on. Alright, let's see what it looks like now. Hold on, guys. Leave that right.
I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.
Oh shoot. The best I can get it for now. Huh. Thank you. All right, that's good. All right, camera's good. I just need to redo the second here. Moment, guys, and then we'll continue on. But just gotta get this last minute preparation here. So first of all, camera's out of focus. But why is this so angled so weird? A little more to the left. Should be okay. Much better. Okay. All we can do for now, anyways. All right, let's continue on. All right. Now that we have that going, so we're here, right? We gotta go upstairs. Not upstairs that way. We're gonna go this way. This guy should be done. I believe it's the evening, so we should be good.
God be with you.
Mm-hmm. What you got here for me, bro?
What about the crown? Is it finished?
I seem to recall telling you exactly when the crown will be finished. And that time isn't yet.
Wow. What a butthead. He said evening. Okay. We'll wait a couple more hours just to kind of see what's going on here. I hope this works out. We'll find out though, right?
What about the crown? Is it finished?
I seem to recall.
Oh.
May the Lord watch over you.
Don't you start. Oh well, I wouldn't mind a bite to eat, actually.
Okay, so I'm gonna check my let's check our quest here real quick. I have to wait until the master engraver has set the moldavite in the crown. He told me to come back in the early evening on the following day. Oh, okay, so we gotta wait a whole day. Shoot.
God be with you.
Nah, he's gonna hate me, but hey, what can I do, guys? I need rest anyway. We are going to be starving. Just took this man's bed.
Hey, do you think you own the place, snoring here? Clear off.
Oh,
Yeah.
God damn it, my stomach hurts.
Hey, young fella, you can't sleep here. Go and find a bed of your own. Out.
Okay. Is it Dendo?
Good health to you.
He's bipolar, isn't he?
What about the crown? Is it finished?
I seem to recall telling you.
Okay, so he's about to be done here shortly, guys. So once this next day comes in, and my guys,
Get up off that bed. You have no business here.
stop following me. All right, we need something to eat, guys. Where was that? Oh, I think there's some right here. Okay, good. That helped me out. So we're gonna drop some things in a pot here. Wow. Okay, that makes no sense. All right, here we go. It should be the next day now. I surely hope so. There we go. Let's get back up. Let's get up top. Why are you sleeping? Wake up.
Jesus Christ.
What about the crown?
I seem to recall telling. Good luck
Wow.
for you.
We're gonna be hungry again, guys. Wow. I'm trying to skip ahead. Come on. Come on. Here you go. He's up and running. I think he should be done now.
My respects to you.
What about the crown? Is it finished?
I seem to recall
Wow.
Good
How
luck.
long is the following day? Is this private property? You ain't cook nothing? Sleep and save. I'll take that. Heck yeah, sleep and save. Man, but we're gonna be starving, guys. I think I got some random like food items for nourishment, so let me just make sure they're not expired or spoiled. I think we should be good. We're gonna find out here in just a moment. Find bandages for Hans? Oh. Oopsie daisy. Oh well, what can I do? Alright, we're starving. Let's check our inventory here real quick. Jeez. I put our nourishment up, which is good. Alright, we're at 48 now. Better than what we were, so that's good. Wait, why do I have a skull? What the heck is that skull icon for? What? Oh, we're in trouble. There you are. There you are, Jay. Let's get those commands in, bro. Yo, you ain't got like no bread around you or something? We gotta find more food. Let's see what we can get here. It's gotta be something on these shelves, right? No? Nothing? Just bowls and plates and no food. Burn the place, right? I don't blame you, man. I think at this point the slots ain't working. Somebody's gotta win it though. Somebody. Unbelievable, man. Well, let's head up out of here. Let's go back in here, talk to this guy. Well, I don't have that skull thing anymore next to my name, so that's good. Hungry again? Dude. There he is. He disappeared on me.
My respects to you.
What about the crown? Is it finished?
I seem to recall telling
My
you
God.
exactly when the crown will be finished.
The evening the following day. Well, it's morning, right? I think it's morning right now. So is this the evening? Probably around here. Let's go a couple hours. This has got to be evening right here. I mean, obviously we're doing military time, so 1800 hours. There we go. Yep. Now we can do it.
What about the crown? Is it finished?
I'm a man of my word. Of course it's finished. Here you have it. Such a shame you couldn't find the Moldavite. It's rather lackluster without it. May the Lord watch over you.
True. Yeah, what can I do though? Okay, so we got that piece of the puzzle here, which is good. This is our horse, so let's get on it real quick. See what we got there. Alright. So mount the broom, bind the wine. So we gotta go to A now. Bring the head over here. I'm gonna sleep for 1 hour so we can save it. And we're just gonna sleep for an hour. I don't want it to get too late, guys. Because I know when I travel over there, it's gonna be nighttime, so it's gonna be bad. If I fast travel, I might have to just take it by foot. My camera sideways? Like if there's not much else I can do. Alright, let's hit the map up. There's a fast travel station there. I'm just gonna take the what is this? New DLC quest? Okay. We're gonna travel. Travel here, why not? Actually, I'm gonna travel here. I hope we're safe there though. Of course the guy takes a long way. Oh boy, it's gonna be nightfall when we get there, guys. Not good. Not good. Yep, it's nighttime. I'm ignoring that. We got an 80% chance. I'm glad I took that ability perk. That comes in handy. Alright guys, we made it here. What the heck? Guess there's a glitch with the torch. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Uh-oh. Something happened there, not too good. Alright, so we're here. We're gonna go to A, but there's two A's. Deal 50 groschen. Nah, I don't want to do that. Probably not right now. Buy the wine. Okay, so we're gonna do the blue A, so let's get going. Move out of the way, guys.
Good neighbours. I lived like you did till Scarlet was burnt
Oh well,
to ashes.
I wouldn't mind a bite to eat, actually.
Yeah, our nourishment's... Man, my FPS is dropping here. Why?
Ow! Watch where you're going, you late. You nearly killed me.
What? Watch where you going. You ran into me. Bunch of shenanigans. Let's do my horse right here for a moment here, guys.
Hey, is someone there?
Huh?
If it's the old hag next door, just go ahead and take a bite out of her. What was that?
Jesus!
Is there something you need? Has something happened?
Ooh, what's the guard doing in there with you? Ooh.
What do you need?
I was lagging a lot last night too. In the game?
God bless.
Who has the... What? A lot of use you are as a guard dog.
Is there something?
Oh, your game was lagging quite a bit. I was wondering what was going on, Jay. I noticed a lot of times the game was like loading. I'm like, it's not good. How bad was the lag? Like, what kind of lag were you getting? So there's a couple things I want to do here, guys. First of all, my motherboard is running hotter than usual, right? Like right now it's 41 degrees Celsius, and that's with the window open in the middle of winter. So my motherboard comes with a 3-year warranty. I don't know if it... I want to say it's been more than 3 years. I don't know. I don't remember when I did my upgrades. I want to say it was 2018. I might just be just in luck, so I might have to make an RMA request, get a new board, or
Come now.
I did talk to this company, and they have, I think, like the Ryzen 7 and a really good motherboard for overclocking and stuff for the AMD cards, for about $500. Now, with that being said, that's cheaper than what I did with my 8700K and then the Aurora's motherboard, because I think my processor was 350. The motherboard I think was like 239 or something.
What shadows are you...
So we're looking at about almost $600. But this one would be for the big cores and everything, which sounds perfect. Let me see if I can find it up here real quick. Hold on. All right. Yeah, so right now I can get an Asus TRX 40 ROG. Oh, that's beast mode. I don't know if I want to go that high. But these are just the... I don't know if this is when... I've never gone AMD before, so this is gonna be like a whole new ball game for me. Oh, it's got Bluetooth in it. Look at that. This is not what I wanted. Hold on. Wow, the Ryzen 9 is expensive. Never mind that. Let me look at the other one. The Ryzen. This is the one I want so bad. Alright, so this one is the X2950, 3.5 gigahertz, 16 cores, but they don't do the threads. Oh yeah, AMD doesn't do the hyper threading, right? It's just it just tells you like all the cores. Oh, you used Cinebench before playing? Oh, really? Were you benchmarking? Huh. If that happens, bro, restart the computer. A nice little restart will help you out big time. I'll have to look more into this later. Not right now. Yeah, I think maybe next year or the year after, I'm going to do some upgrades. I have to. I can use this PC as a stream setup, really, or like a streaming PC. And I want to hybrid cool my GPU so bad. But I might have to just stick with it until I buy one that comes with it. The Ryzen 5, let me take a look. AMD Ryzen 5, 2600 processor with Wraith Stealth cooler. Wow, it comes with a cooler. Look at that. Get a used one for 90 bucks. Oh, you did some benchmarking. Okay. So what this one like? Let's take a look at it. This one is spec. 6 core, 12 threads. Practically the same thing I'm using now. But it only max boosts to 3.9. Now that's just what it boosts is at. So this one comes with 3.4 gigahertz. But it clocks to a maximum of 3.9. But look at those. Oh, and I was thinking about bus lanes. I should be fine, dude. I just thought about it because my graphics card is 8 bus lanes, right? And then my Elgato, if anything, if it's 8, it's 16, but I doubt it. I think it only uses 4, to be honest. So I've still got bus lanes left when I think about it. I think I'm fine. Yeah, this is not a bad processor, bro. Honestly, this is almost just as good as my 8700, and you're saving 50% of what 8700K goes for. Yeah, because let me see, Intel 8700K, how much is it on eBay right now? Yeah, they still want $395, $300. It's expensive. Now it can boost up to 4.7, so that's the only advantage. Just boost wise, it has it, but you can overclock anyway, so it doesn't matter. Dude. Jay, you might want to go with this, bro. And it's only $100. Right, look at this one, bro. You get a Ryzen 7 2700. This one gives you 4.1 gigahertz, 8 cores, 16 threads. Now I don't know what you can overclock that to, but you can at least probably get like 4 or 5 out of it. Yeah, so right now it's stocked at, oh, it's stocked at 3.2. Impressive, man. Or if you want to save a little more, man, just go with that one. Look at that. Look at that. That's what I want so bad. I want a Threadripper. I'm gonna do it, man. And those cores, bro, you'll never have to worry about CPU spikes. Like, you can multi-thread like no tomorrow. Look at this, 8 core, 16 thread. Dude. This is insane. Your max is at 3.4. Yeah, I'm going A and B next round. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I'm gonna do it. But I'll have to get a whole new board. And I'll have to... Yeah, I'll just have to do all that. The wine is in this building. Of course, I can't get in there right now. It's closed. I need something. Yo, I am lagging in this town. Holy mackerel. I think it's everybody with the torches. I think that's what it is. Hold on. Particles. FX. We'll keep that on very high. Lightning. Very high. It's a little more now. I'm getting 40 instead of 30. But that's okay. It's because I know it's raining and we have a lot of particles going on, and I got my draw distance high, so that's why. Man, this game looks good. A pretty good board for $100. Yeah. I just, you know what? But the thing is, though, I have to think of something that's going to be kind of future proof. So like, I can get what I have now for the same price or way cheaper. Kind of like you were saying, the one for $100. But I want to go with more cores because the more cores seems to be the thing, but it's not always necessarily. I want high gigahertz, but I also want the cores. So like, I would say for now, 8 cores or 16 would be my minimum. 8 to 16 cores would be my minimum. But I know that they make some 12 cores with 24 threads or whatever, or anything like that, but I don't need that much. I know that's going to take time before we hit that stage. But cores is very important nowadays, especially for me. Like I'm using multi-monitors, I'm using programs and software on one screen, I'm looking at another screen, I'm playing the game on this screen, I'm live streaming, I'm doing so much at the same time that I'm going to need a PC just like people who do like a lot of Photoshopping and Adobe Premiere and all that good stuff. So we'll have to see what's going on with that. But yeah, I'm gonna go AMD, guys. See, the rain stopped and my FPS came back. Yep, the rain kind of did it a little bit. All right, so we need to kill time. Problem is, I'm gonna be starving. I need to buy food, guys. I don't want to. We're gonna have to buy something to eat here. Yeah, we're gonna have to get something here in just a moment.
You seriously think you can creep around here in the dark right under my nose? That's against the law. Well, you won't forget this in a hurry, because it'll take a nice pile of coin to fix it.
Wow. Oh, he only wants 10, but 10's a lot. I don't have enough money. I've been given a secret task. Watch your step. I'm in the service of the Lord. Yeah, I'm going to use that one. 5, 6, 7. Don't mess with me.
Oh, come on, my friend. You know I'm in the service of Sir Radzig Cobbler, don't you?
Try your fairy tales on someone else.
Wow. Just pay him the 10.
Damn it. Here's your coin, then.
You've purged yourself before the law. But I'll be keeping an eye on you. You can be sure of that.
What a douchebag. Greater than and higher than the Intel 5s? Yeah, I believe it. Get out of my face now. Yeah, he stopped me before I could even do anything. Yeah. I want to do it, man. And mine is just a Lonely Rising 3. Yeah. No, AMD's benchmark way better, bro. They benchmark like no tomorrow. It's a pretty big town with a lot going on too. Come on, man. How much more do I have to wait? I'm gonna die of hunger. Your GPU was the highest on the list, really? Wind attorney if you can. Before I do that, let me do this.
God be with you.
Lady Stephanie of Talmberg sent me to...
And what would she like? Fine clothes from Venice, exquisite spices from Arabia, jewels from Germany.
Wine. Good wine.
Ah.
Ah.
Would beer be enough?
Wow.
As a gift for a noble woman's wedding? No, it definitely wouldn't.
Then that's going to be a problem. I gave the last keg of good wine away as a prize for the archery competition tomorrow.
Shit. Can I enroll in the competition?
But of course. Go to the shooting range above Rattay.
But what if I don't win the competition?
Then you'll have to persuade the winner to part with some truly excellent wine.
Wow.
I suppose I'll just have to find a way to get it.
I'm sorry, there's nothing more I can do to help.
What a douchebag. Why would you do that?
Damn it, I'm hungry.
You can haul this food on the table. Dude, I know, I'm gonna have to talk to him and trade.
Take care now.
Oh, they don't cost that much.
Can we do something about the price?
Naturally.
What is it, 2.5? Wow. Oh, he wants me to pay 2.9. Go down to 2.
What do you say to this?
You won't convince me with that.
Satisfied?
Well now, a little more and we'll shake on it.
Oh, that's a decent price. Something to eat.
Oh, is that pretzels on the table? I need more, man. Bread does way more replenishment, I think. Hold on, let me check here. How does this show you? Problem is, if I don't eat this stuff in time, though, it goes bad too.
Can we do something about the price?
Naturally.
What about this?
That's not enough.
All right. And now?
Come now, just a little more and we have a deal.
Wow.
I'll go for that.
Okay, so now that we got that going on, guys, we need to eat stuff. So where's my food? Eat the bread. Yeah, these are pretzels. Man, they make the food look so good in this game. I can't do this. Look at this table. Wow. Making me hungry. Make a man hungry, right? Oh, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna play later. Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I was like, I think your game kept freezing a lot. And sometimes when you run Cinebench too, remember that you're like maximizing the of everything. Bandages next to the food, very sanitary, right? In case your food got a boo-boo. Like we got beets, we got bread, we got fish or trout. I'm sorry. Man, they make those pretzels look good. Some of them even look broken or mixed in. I think all food got a boo-boo. Right. Oh, God. Yeah. Honestly, dude, if I had the money right now, I would just redo my whole computer. Like, I mean, I'm happy with what I had at one point, but like now I'm seeing what I need. Careful. Oh boy. So we have to go to this competition, guys. It looks like we're going to be fighting, so we're going to have to be careful with this one. This one's not going to be fun. It's going to be difficult. Let me check my inventory. Or not my inventory, my map. I'm sorry. Right here. Letter B. Win the archery contest. Oh, we're not fighting. We're just doing an archery contest. So wait. Oh, let's go for it. I'm out of my way, guards. You know what? They're actually down below. Let's go back down.
Yeah.
Let's park a horse right here. How does that armor seems out of place for him? I'm getting new parts, but everything else is getting outdated already. I know, bro. I know. Like, new. You know what? New things are coming out. That's why I don't want to buy nothing yet. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to start a new goal because the Star Citizen we've already gotten. But I think for the first one, the stream funds, bills, and upgrades, I'm gonna have to. We gotta get that going. I really want to get that. Better motherboard, yeah. My motherboard is the only thing is that I just don't like how hot it gets. But that's only because... Actually, there is something I need to... I'll have you guys wait right here. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on 1 second.
What the?
All right, let's see here. Still got to get Star Citizen. Yeah, we still got to get that up, bro. All right, we're looking pretty good. All right, so what I did real quick was, but look, now my CPU runs hotter. Actually, no, it's still running pretty good. I'm not pickpocketing. No, I don't play as a criminal. I'm playing as a good guy. Then you do jail, and the jail takes a long time to get out. I don't feel like waiting in jail. This game punishes you for going to jail. It like punishes you, like for real punish you. You have to wait a long time.
Wait, for real life, an hour?
Yep. Nah, I don't want to be in there. It's crazy how they did it. Okay, so for the most part, I was gonna do Star Citizen today, but the problem with that game is that you need a lot of time to invest into it. So I just did not have the time. Like I've only got a what? It's only been an hour and 5 minutes. I got to get off here soon, which is what? Where am I at here? I literally got like less than an hour, so I don't have much time really to. I didn't want to get on there, start something, I had to get right back off. You know what I'm gonna do for you, Jay? I need you to do me a favor, bro. I don't know if you can though. Yeah, you should, because you got community staff. All right, anyway, so I deleted the post that Yam Lord of Spacetime did. So what Lord did was posted a pretty much advertised their Discord channel inside the general chat. Not allowed. We do have stream promotions, which are allowed only in the promotions room. But I did only say members may promote using this channel. I'm gonna edit that real quick. Hold on. There we go. That should work. Also, with you being a Discord staff or community staff, you should really be able to, like, I don't want to kick or ban them because, like, I want to keep our member count going up, but I don't want them to, like, disobey the rules as well. So what I probably would do is probably just let them know, hey, you know, they're in the wrong channel, first of all, and also no advertising other Discords. Then again, they just recently joined and they did that, so maybe that was only their intentions anyway, so there's probably no point even bothering. All right, let me take a look here. Actually, I'll do it. All right. Let me see here. No, it's okay, Jay. I already removed it. Yeah. I do have it. No backseating. No sell promotion, which is a rule. No. Links to your password. Blah blah blah. This part. Oh, why is it doing that? Hey, no backseating, spoiling, spamming, flaming, no self-promotion of other Discord servers or links. Networking is encouraged, but don't post links to your broadcast or the conversation by saying so you're going live in minutes, unless in promotion room, which I think we're gonna go ahead to hashtag promotion room. There we go. I've updated it. Sweet. This is the general chat. Everyone may type whatever they like as long as it follows the rules. Here's where we'll make announcements, blah blah. Yeah, no, yeah, but Trixie Bot took care of that. You see what I'm saying? So you're a moderator. Oh no, actually, here's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, because um there you go. I got it. Oh shoot, what the heck? So I already made the post. I said, Lord, yeah, I'm Lord Space of Time. Do not post links or advertise other Discord channels in the general chat. Stream promoting is allowed on our promotion room. Read our server rules for more info. Here we go. Bam. Nicely professional. You know. Alright, things are looking pretty good there. Alright, let's continue it on, guys. Let's continue on with the game. Alright, we're right back into the action. Alright, so we gotta talk to this guy about this tournament thingy. Yes, be praised.
I've heard there's a contest happening, and that the prize is a keg of fine wine.
That's true. I bought the finest wine to be had in the province.
I'd like to take part.
Do you know the rules?
No, I know them. I don't know them.
I don't.
You shoot 7, 13, or 21 arrows, depending on who you're shooting against. The straw surround is worth 1 point. The white ring 2, and the bullseye 3. Whoever finishes shooting first gets 3 extra points. The round ends when everyone has finished shooting, and whoever has the most points wins. It's the custom to wager on it, to make it more interesting, see? The better archers you shoot against, the higher the stakes.
All right, that seems straightforward.
Just one more thing. Don't leave while the contest is underway, and never aim or shoot at anything but the target. Otherwise, you're out. Got it?
Got it.
Splendid. Here's some arrows for you. But you can use your own if you want. Meanwhile, I'll round up the competition. May the Lord...
And I did not even save it, did I? I can't even save and quit. Shoot. Okay, well, let's I'm gonna use the mouse on this one. Oh, just use the controller. We gotta get used to it anyway. I got the most points. No, I'm a little bit below. I gotta get a little higher, guys. 22. Wow. I need to aim higher. Yeah, no, I know. But see, the thing is, they have to come to the server, they have to verify themselves, and then they have to sign up for the streamer role. If they want to advertise their channels, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. People need to promote. Everybody's doing their own thing. But it's got to be in that one channel. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to, like, crowd and flood the general chat, which general chat's just for miscellaneous things, but not for advertisement. And the thing is, it's a process. Wow. 31. Wow.
Is there someone here who compete with me in archery?
Of course. What do you think this range is for? First, I'll explain the rules to you. You shoot 7, 13, or the straw surround is worth 1. The round end is the customer.
All right.
Yeah. Just one more thing.
Got it.
How good are you with a bow? So I can find you a suitable opponent. Farewell.
So I screwed that up, so what's gonna happen now? Oh, it's one of these guys who won. Hold on, we gotta... Oh, I see him moving. He's moving on my map. Hold on, let me go get him. This guy was the winner.
God be with you.
I'm so fired. I screwed up, guys. I had one simple task, win the archery tournament range, and I totally just failed it big time. Unbelievable, man. Unfreaking believable. I don't know.
Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you. I can't wait to drink to it.
Yes, on the subject of drinking, I'm guessing you prefer beer to wine.
No, not really. I could drink beer in any tavern, but there's no wine as good as this one.
It's just that the wine you won, I need it.
Not a chance. I won it fairly.
I don't have much,
You don't want to disappoint Lady Stephanie of Talmberg and her courier, do you?
Lady Stephanie, you say? I've always liked her ladyship. You know what, then? Take the keg. And please give her my respectful greetings.
Good, we got it. Oh, gosh. Didn't have to fight the guy. I'm glad he gave it to me. I didn't think he was going to do it. Okay, so now what? Mount the roan, go back to Lady Stephanie. All right, guys, so we're going back. Well, we got health, we got energy, we got all that good shenanigans going on. No, why? It's not good. So yeah, I was looking over a few things, Jay. I think I need to I think I'm gonna make me some new like sound alerts, or not sound alerts, but like new yeah, I gotta fight.
Blood will be spilt.
Oh gosh, just run away.
Gone weak at the knees, have you?
I have no arrows. Oh!
Combat.
Seriously?
Ha.
Wow.
Come here.
I can make it to this town. Oh my gosh.
I'll slaughter you.
Why are they hitting me like no problem?
I'm gonna enjoy this.
Burnt out farm. Maybe this lady can help me. Help me! I'm being ambushed. All right, buddy. Now it's showtime.
Stop, please. Spare me. I yield.
Oh, now you want to yield because you ain't with your buddies. Oh, heck you know. You ain't going nowhere. Oh, okay. You don't want to pay up. I want him to pay me. How come he got infinite stamina? She just runs away, right? She didn't do anything. She wasn't no help. I could have took those guys out. Those guys were not really a big threat.
Well now.
Oh!
I'm crawling out.
Son of a gun, I got you down, boy. Where's the other guy at? You little bandits, let me tell you something. I'm taking your apple, taking your carrot, your dried fruit, your Groshen. Yes, I'm taking all of it. And, oh, you got a pretzel. I've been wanting that, actually. I just didn't want to buy it because I'm cheap. Really appreciate that pretzel. We can't just leave your body out here now, can we? Yeah, this bandit tried to attack me, guys. Put him somewhere safe. Then turns around and runs away. Right, ran away like a little chicken wuss. There was another one out there somewhere, so my sword has blood on it. That's why it gets me in trouble. Where's the other guy at?
Yeah. Yeah.
They all disappeared, but that one stuck around. He wanted to take me out, but I wasn't letting him. That's probably him right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely him. Let me get behind him. Oh, look at him with that sword out. Look, look. Ooh, wee, he is ready.
Well, look what's come crawling out.
Wow, good at blocking there, buddy. Got him a couple times. Come on. A little more. A little more. Oh, got him. That's right, buddy. Get on that ground. Apple, carrot, groschen. Yep, taking all that. All right, and everything else seems kind of meh. Not really worried about it too much. Now you just need some nacho cheese. So what do I get nacho cheese at this time? At this era? Was nacho cheese even a thing? Man, I got blood all over my sword, guys. How do I clean my sword? I don't remember. Grab some of the shenanigans here. This is all just weeds. Probably not, right? No nacho cheese. Nacho cheese, if you please.
No nachos.
No nachos.
No.
Well, nachos make me feel machos.
Paper spoon. Hey, that's actually.
I gotta play it. I'm gonna sing that song with it. What?
Have to check if their faces. Yep. You have to check if their faces. You have to check their faces, man. You have to make sure these aren't better than ever.
Oh, you know these people ambushed me, and they all ran. Well, one of them ran like a little chicken. I hit him a couple times. He got on his knees. He's like, "Spare my life!" I turned around for a second, turned back. He started running. Usually, I can make him pay me.
You're turning back.
Wait, why am I failing so many missions?
Is you bad?
Wow.
Oh, look at that guy pickpocketing him.
Yeah, I get caught. I go to jail.
Why do you have to play as a good guy?
Well, because this game is very punishing if you're bad. Like, my sword has blood on it, so I can't take it out, because if they see me with blood on my sword, they're gonna know I did crime. Yeah.
Qué bueno now, boy.
Yeah, see, look. I put my sword away. Look at the blood. Ready? Oh, you don't see it because of the... Hold on. Oh, well, I don't want to pull it out on her.
Welcome, Henry. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad you're here, too.
Punch her.
Why did I do that?
The Lord save you. What do you need?
I brought you the crown from the master engraver.
Henry, you are a gem. Wait. There was supposed to be a large Moldavite placed here. What's this?
You had to do all that work and bring it all the way over there. She did nothing.
I arranged for it to be replaced with something else.
Ah, I understand. Even so, Henry, I'd prefer to decide on such matters myself. So, what's next?
Uh-oh.
I brought the wine.
Wonderful, wonderful. No wedding is complete without good wine. Find somewhere here to put it down. I'll send for a servant to bring it later. I hope you had no problems acquiring it.
Actual game.
Problems?
Wow.
I don't know the meaning of the word.
As if I didn't know you. God bless.
That guy was.
Alright, so I got everything she wanted. That's it? Or do I have to... Wow. My character hungry right now? Oh yeah, he is. Where do I put the wine?
Good evening.
If I needed some food, who should I ask?
Who do you
Food,
think,
eh?
young man? Me, of course. And if you want something extra, I could help you out with that too.
I don't want to know.
I'd like to buy something from you.
Of course, lad. God bless.
Oh, there's good stuff. Well, we got milk. We could dip pretzels in milk, right? Where is... Where I gotta put it at here? Alright, let me read the objectives here. Now, just to take the road to Talmberg. Then, that can't be too difficult, can it? I have everything Lady Symphony wanted for me. I should bring it all to her in time for her cousin's wedding. Oh, okay, so I think we just gotta mount the road, or... I don't get it.
So, boy, want me to sing?
Are you serious? So it wasn't work. I didn't deliver the horse in the right place? Wow. Get the keys to Talmberg's armory. Okay. Well, let's go back up top.
I brought the roan, my lady.
That's wonderful. There weren't any problems with it, I hope.
Nothing too serious. He's a little wild, but I was able to handle him in the end.
Well, that won't do.
Thank you.
Sophie can't have some wild horse at her wedding starting a stampede.
But I've learnt a trick. If you sing to him, he calms down.
You sang to a horse?
It's quite true, I'm afraid. I sang to a horse.
Well, then you'll have to sing something to me, too.
My lady, I don't know if I...
So I know how to calm down that roan. Go ahead, sing.
Two horses come roaming in the merry month of May to graze in the shade of the apple tree there. The first one is brown and the second is grey. Which shall I ride to, my maiden so fair?
Oh, how beautiful. I'm not surprised the horse calmed down after hearing such a lovely voice.
Right.
Anyway, I'll think about what to do with the roan. But thank you, Henry.
What can I do for you, my lady?
Nothing. You've done enough. And now I'd like to reward you.
That's not necessary, my lady. You taking the time to see me is reward enough.
Come now, Henry. No need for such modesty. I appreciate everything.
Immigration.
As well as your company. And there's something I'd like to give you. This shirt was my father's. He was built very much like you. Broad shoulders, strong chest. It should fit you just right.
I hope so.
But I can't accept this. It's too valuable.
It's too valuable to be left to the mercy of moths. It doesn't fit my husband well, and I've no one else to give it to. What's more, if you were to leave us again, I'd like you to have something to remember me by, so you don't forget me.
I could never forget you, my lady.
Well then, won't you try it on at least?
What? Right now?
Why not? Don't worry, I won't look. I'll turn my back.
And what if your husband comes in?
He won't. Neither will anyone else.
Wow. Okay, okay, well, let's just do it. Who cares?
Good luck then. I feel truly blessed to have you here. So long I yearned for young company.
Wow.
I really feel God heard my prayers and sent you to me.
I'm ready.
My, you do look handsome. As fine as any gentleman. When I was a little girl, there were always lots of other children around and young men and women of the court. It was so merry. I always hoped it would be like that when I was grown up too. But it was not God's plan.
That's the headset you got?
No. No, alas, we were not blessed. Twice I was with child, but they did not live. And now I fear there's no hope for me.
Aww.
My lady.
I got different pants on. I don't remember having those.
Oh, forgive me.
That's the queen.
We shouldn't have.
I don't mind.
Okay. Oh, the king's gonna be... Ooh, this is bad. Censor time? Oh, don't say that. Oh gosh, let me get ready. I think we're good. Good, nothing bad happened. Whew. Wow. The door was open. Nobody saw anything, right? No? We're gonna do like the little SpongeBob 1 hour later. Maybe 1 minute later. Wow, I can't believe I just did that. Wow. We are... My guy's bad. Man, I went to hang out with the preacher. 1 second later. Right. We're gonna play that. What was it? The that Missy Elliott song. Ooh, I don't need. I'm not gonna sing a copyright and all, but you know. I don't want no mini man. Yo, I can't believe that just happened. Oh, let me get this out before they try to freaking give me a fine or a ticket. So what's happening now? What's my objective? So we're done with yeah, we're done with that. There's so many fast traveling points now. I'm so glad. I'm glad that these are open too. Okay, good. Okay, so we're back up here again. Xbox says Xbox Series X won't have exclusive first-party games at launch. What? That is crazy. That's insane. Okay, so... I never finished this one. I don't think so. I know they make quite a bit, but you know, obviously I know they're focusing on just the majority, like the popular ones. You know what? I never finished this one. So where is this one at? That's all down there. There's got to be another objective up here I need to do. Give me a second. This is the two of these are Teresa's. Okay, you know what? We'll go down here. Scared we're gonna get ambushed again, though. It's fast travel. Going all the way back down again. I would like to be able to sell my Xbox 360, but I still have some games that I can't play on Xbox One. Right, yeah, that's true. I do agree. I feel like... Well, I don't know about Xbox 360. I know PS3, there's a way to emulate that. Not so much the Xbox. At least not successfully yet. Oh, wow, we made it there with no complications whatsoever. That's interesting. But everybody's going to be sleeping, of course. But I think my room is actually here, so I can actually get some rest now. We don't want to lockpick that. Let's go back this way. This is actually where we're staying. I forgot we lived here. He's on my bed. Or this is my bed. It does need work, yeah. I haven't read about it in such a long time. Let's see here, Xbox 60 emulator. Let me see. I know there was a few things. By now, something's got to be good. You can try one of these, Jay. See if any of those work for you, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea, dude. I know a lot of these at one point, it was just so buggy and glitchy and so early beta that it was just not worth it. For PlayStation 3, I've tried it. It works phenomenal, but not all games work, though. You can even do this too if you ever decide to do that. You can even probably play your Xbox game if it's on Sony. I know that one works, and it even has a list of games that's compatible and what's not. Oh shoot, I'm not in the screen, duh. I need to start just doing chatting streams. Let me switch scenes here real quick. Yeah, I'm looking right now. It's nice that it's 7.1 surround, stereo sound, USB computer gaming headset, microphone over the ear, noise isolating, breathing LED light. Wow. The price too, not bad, bro. Especially for the price. The only thing about the leather though, like the ear cups, usually it can cause a lot of sweat, like in the summertime. But for that price, you can't go wrong with it. Oh, the mute button sucks? Yeah. Well, this one I think has a mute button. Let me bring it in closer for you. Yeah, this one has like a mute button there on the side. And it's got a mute and power button, that's all that is. But the microphone, you see how it's lit up red? If I lower it down, like if I put the mic down, the light goes off, but as soon as I put it up this way, it mutes. So you can toggle the mute just with the boom. I can just flip it up and down, which is usually what I do. I don't know how long that will last, because I would think over time it'd probably get loose and not work as great, but this is only really one way to find out about that. Oh, and the cord, yeah, you don't want that, bro. Yeah, you don't want that. Alright, let's hopefully see if everybody wakes up around this time. I think the game's saved too. Yeah, it just saved. Sweet. Wow, look at that rain outside. Whoa. What is it, boy? Wow, water puddles from the rain. That's impressive. That's really... Oh, probably be nice if I switch scenes for you guys, right? Why are you howling so much? Dog's annoying. He's trying to wake him up. Alright, we're gonna see for another hour. Oh, it pulls your oh, so it's like a heavy mute button. Wow. It's not good, bro. You don't want that. That's definitely gonna cause problems. Ay, 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 ay. Alright, good. Everybody's waking up. Everybody's awake. I'm gonna eat from this pot. You want to find something different? Yeah. Honestly, depends on your price range. I would say... This is Teresa. Yep.
Well, you're a sight for sore eyes.
How did you manage to survive? What's the dog wandering around here? How have you been? Matthew Fitz said regards.
Matthew and Fritz and their regards.
They survived. My God, I'm glad. They helped me out a lot. And where did you see them?
In Sasau. I bumped into them in front of the tavern.
How are they doing?
Healthy, but they have a problem. Not very well.
They're doing fine. The monks brought them back to health. But they don't have work, and they're in debt. You wouldn't happen to know of any jobs going for two lazy carpenters?
Not here. And I think it will be the same in Oliver Tide. It's overcrowded with refugees, and they're all looking for work.
That's bad. Those two need work badly. To keep them out of mischief. You know what they're like.
I do indeed. Try the mills in the smaller hamlets. The miller in the Dechko is old. Maybe he could use some strong hands.
I will. Thanks.
There we go. That's good. All right, I brought you something. Okay.
Brought you something.
Oh, Hal. Is this for me? This must have cost you a fortune. But I like it very much, thank you. You really mustn't bring me any more gifts like that, or you'll spoil me.
Have you got a moment? I'd like to ask a few questions about Skalitz. I don't remember much.
All right. What do you want to know?
I thought we did all these, though.
How did you get me away from Skalitz?
It wasn't easy. Sir Robard and his men helped load you on a wagon, and we harnessed an old nag the bandits had left behind. The soldiers escorted us all the way here. God bless them.
Ooh, so close, Jay. Right.
What about the bandits?
I could have sworn we did all this.
They killed the few, but the giant who attacked you fled, and Zibishek with him. They won't be safe in Skalitz for a while yet.
Why would Zbyszek do that? I never thought much of him, but banditry?
He was always a nasty piece of work. It doesn't surprise me he joined them. If you knew what he did to me.
Tell me.
When those humans, they call them, when the humans came, Zbyszek pushed me out in front of them and fled. He sacrificed me to save his own hide.
Bastard. Where's the sword I had?
You had a sword? It's gone now. Those scum took everything, including your horse.
I don't give a damn about the horse. I stole it anyway. But my father forged that sword for Sir Radzig. I promised father I'd take it to him. I have to get it back.
Well, you can't. Just be thankful you're still alive.
What happened to the other survivors from Skalitz?
They sought refuge in Ratay.
Good job, Jay. You did it.
Folk are none too happy about it.
And Matthew, Fritz, and Matthias? Johanka, did they make it?
They're alive. I heard Matthias is at the stud farm in Merhoyed. Johanka is in Sasau, and Fritz and Matthew, well, you know them. They're up to no good somewhere. The only trouble they'll be is everyone.
What about Sir Radzig?
Sir Hanush, he's the lord of Ratay. He gave his lower castle to Sir Radzig, a place called Perkstein. Sir Hanush lives at the upper castle. Skalitz folk have made camp in front of it.
We're just talking out in a rainstorm like it's nothing.
You're wrong. If it hadn't been for you. When they came to the mill, they slaughtered everyone. Kept me for last. After you distracted them, I fled to the mines to find my brother, but my brother was dead, but I owe my life.
I'm gonna get sick. I want to doubt it. If I get sick in this game, probably another thing I'll have to learn. Maybe make a alchemy and make some chemicals to fix my character.
I won't trouble you anymore. Let's leave it here. What actually happened to you in Skalitz? I mean, during the attack and... well, you know.
That's a long story. Not a very cheerful one. Are you sure you want to hear it now?
I do, yep.
I do.
All right, then.
Oh. Here we go. We get to see her side of the story.
Like any other. Another ordinary day in my ordinary life. I awoke at first light, before the others. I like those kind of mornings best.
Right.
When the first rays of sunshine quickly drive away the nighttime cold. Hello, you. There. And the breeze carries the scent of dew-covered grass and the bloom of spring. I wanted to get my chores done before the rest of the household was up. And this morning seemed made for that very purpose. Right, better get to work. I have to feed the hens, weed the garden, feed Tinker. I'd better get it all done before Papa is up.
Oh, I'm playing as her? Why does my neck look like that? Like, what the... In these harsh times, people are aware of anything out of the ordinary, so I'm playing as her. Okay, so her stealth thingy. I didn't know you could play as different characters in this game. Oh, my sidekick's the dog? So now we're back at Scarlet, so I gotta weed the guard. Okay. Very well. Okay, well then let's do some of our objectives here. Let's wash our face. Nope, we can't get any cleaner than that. Ooh. Oh, yeah, we gotta take the weeds out of the garden, guys. I learned this from my other objective. Oh, it's actually named. Oh, so her knowledge of the plants are a lot more better. That's why she can tell the difference. Well, this is cool. I didn't know we could play different characters. She got a strong neck game. That's always a good thing, man. It's okay if we can keep playing as her. That'd be cool. Might be able to get some mods for this game. Obviously, having playing as a different NPC should be doable then. I gotta see if there's any mods for this. I'm really curious. What are the way? Dog's in my way.
That should do it. The garden is looking how it should again.
Did the dog just drink out of the puddle on the ground? That's a cool dog. Get the chicken feed. Feed the chickens.
Chicky, chicky. Hey there. Here you are, girls. Fill your beaks.
Okay. I forgot what we had to get in here. Rice. Oh wow! Look at all this. Take all that. We're gonna need that later, probably. Wow! Look at all. Oh, I think this is only the local map. It doesn't let me go anywhere else. Feed the tinker. Oh, we gotta feed the tinker. Oh.
Look what I've got for you. You'll love this.
I don't have anything.
Good boy. That's my boy. Let's see what you can sniff out here. Seek.
Oh, he's seeking something. Your dog is now able to seek out interesting undiscovered places. Once he catches a scent, he'll go on ahead. Ooh. Poor dog's gonna starve. Yeah, I don't have anything to feed the dog. Whoa, what the? Alright, let's move it around. Let's go back inside the house here real quick.
I must bring Tinker a piece of meat. That'll be a nice treat.
Oh. Oh, look at all this stuff. Some more meat up there. Look at that. We got meat all over this. Just meat just sitting out in the open. Don't worry about flies or anything flying around it. But back then, I don't think we had a choice, guys.
No, I should finish my chores and not wake anyone.
Where did my dog go?
Good boy. That's my boy.
Okay, hold on. Let's get food.
I've got for you. You'll love this.
That's a big steak, right? Look at that piece of meat. And that's just a piece of meat. Wow. Aw. Jeez. One happy dog. Talk to your father? Alright.
One at the mine again. Teresa! Come here. Teresa! Come here.
Teresa? I'm gonna sleep is... Okay, delay, okay.
What's the...
What do you need, Papa?
Go up and see the blacksmith. He made some nails for me. Here's some coin.
All right. Anything else while I'm at it?
No, unless you want to stop off at the market and buy some supplies. And before you go, wake Samuel. The boy's still lying in bed and won't stir. He ought to follow your example and Stebor's. You two don't have to be pushed to work. Well, at least he's still better than that good-for-nothing Zbyszek.
Yeah.
Lazy wretch. A helper like that isn't worth a damn. If it weren't for his father, God rest his soul, I'd have thrown him out on his ear long ago.
Wow. Huh. Take a look here, guys. So we have Kingdom, right? I'm gonna look this up real quick. Kingdom Come, Deliverance. All right. Oh wow, limited saving. Oh, that would have came in handy. Wow, better inventory sorting too. So this some of these mods are kind of like Skyrim. Stay clean longer, get dirty gradually. That's pretty cool. Give it that more realistic. Trails? Remove those stupid trails. Optimize graphics presets, more responsive targeting. Yes. Oh my god, I hate the targeting in this game. Loosen up the targeting system and make it easier to move around in a fight and engage multiple opponents at once. No helmet vision. Workaholic. Wow. Improvements, no more texture pop in. Easy to see herbs. She carries food on her shoulder, right? Yo, some of these mods are kind of cool, man. I just don't want to break the game, though. Right. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, these mods are actually pretty nice, though. Bum, bum, bum. Oh. Yeah, so let me click on this really quick. Seems like there's some pretty epic looking mods here. Let's see. Armor color fix, nice. Oh, they even brought in the bow dot reticle, which I don't need used to it. Wow. Beta with ray tracing shader. This game already runs not so well as it is. Adding ray tracing to the mix, not a good idea. We're gonna do popular all time. Yeah. Oh. One thing is though, this site can be kind of weird, so I don't know. You can go to it if you want to, Jay. It's up to you. It should be fine though, because I dealt with them, but make sure you're protected. That's all.
Now, Father, you shouldn't be so hard on Zabishek. You know he hasn't had an easy life.
And who has, girl? That's no excuse for laziness. You could tell him to get his ass to work, too.
Right, go for nails, send Samuel and Zabishek to work. If it's at all possible.
Aye, just so. Oh, and Teresa, once you've done all your chores for the day, I've a little surprise for you.
A surprise, Pa? Don't you want to tell me about it now?
Curiosity killed the cat. What kind of surprise would it be if I told you, girl?
Oh, all right.
Wow, her, can I save it? Of course I can't save it, but I have to save and quit. Alright, so what we're gonna do, guys, I'm actually gonna go ahead and save and quit it because I gotta get going here. So let me go ahead and save and quit it now. Jay, check out the mods and those sites. I'm gonna, even for other games too, by the way, if there's some other games that you have on there, the Nexus Mod Manager I've used before, it works very good. And I like it. But the site's been kind of weird lately, so I don't know. I might check a different site and see what else. But yeah, for the most part, I'm out of here. Catch you guys later. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you guys have a wonderful day. I'll catch you guys soon. Bye bye.